Welcome to another Developer Fundamental video. I think you know what that means. How's it going, John?
Not bad, partner. Follow me. I'll cover you.
A developer needs to solve problems that there aren't clear answers to. The best developers are the ones who are left to their own devices to figure out a problem. They are able to find errors in their code and solve it themselves. They have questions or something they don't understand? Well, no problem. They know how to use the resources they have to figure it out. At the end of the day, we are engineers. This is what we do. And this is a developer fundamental. How can you solve this problem you're having when I'm not around to answer these questions for you? So, how can you practice this? Let me introduce you to your most important resource as a developer. Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is probably in the top 5 most used tools by any developer. Whether you're a game developer or a network admin, a security expert or a web developer, every day people in the field post questions and get answers from some of the best in the world. The website is so extensive that the question you have is most likely already asked and answered. I can't remember how many times Stack Overflow has saved me when I was stuck on a problem. So in this short video, I want to show you an important skill a developer should have, that is problem solving. In real life, you won't have a teacher or an instructor you can just ask for an answer every time you are stuck. No, most likely you have to figure things out yourself using the tools at your disposal. I'm not joking when I say most developers spend half their time on Google. I want you to start practicing that muscle. When you have a question, ask yourself, knowing what I know and the tools at my disposal, what is the best way for me to get to the end to solve this problem? The first step when you are stumped is to Google. And most likely, one of the first links that pops up, if you include the word JavaScript or CSS or HTML, well, most likely one of the first links will be Stack Overflow. So let me show you an example and take you through a real-life scenario. I got a piece of text, which is a string, and I need to find how many exclamation marks it has. Well, again, just Google something along the lines of check if string contains substring JavaScript. So I just Googled this. Let's see what pops up. And yeah, we have a whole bunch of things. So you can see that the first 2 links are Stack Overflow. So I would click on this and see that, all right, the question is, I would expect a string.contains method, but there doesn't seem to be one. Well, JavaScript doesn't have one. And people have answered this. And you can see over here that there's a few things. One, well, there's 49 answers. That's a lot. There's votes, there's all this, that's active. I usually like looking at the votes because the top answer will have the most upvotes. You can see over here that this person has a ton. It also has a check mark. This check mark means that the person who asked the question has verified that this in fact works. And usually I like looking at the top answer and then kind of browsing through the second answer as well. Just make sure that I didn't miss anything, because sometimes when new things happen, this question might have been asked, let's see when it was asked. It was asked 8 years ago. And maybe the top answer since then, maybe JavaScript included a contains method that we can use on strings. And maybe the top answer now isn't exactly the top answer anymore. So I like scrolling through and making sure that, maybe the first 3 answers are good. But if we scroll up over here, we see that this person actually kept updating their answer and even has the ES6 method, includes. So now that I know, I see that, I can just use the includes function. And with the includes function, I can just do something like this. I can say, does the string hello with an exclamation mark, well, does hello have an exclamation mark? And I get an error. Well, because if I look over here, it's not include, it is includes. Let me try that again, and I get true. If I do let's say an A, I get false because, well, it doesn't include anything. So there you go. Stack Overflow just answered my question. And you can see over here, there's a few other things that you can look at. One is you can look at some of the comments that people have made, and comments usually have votes as well. So I like looking at comments with a lot of votes, and you can see people have provided valuable links. You also see that on the right hand side you have linked answers. So maybe this page doesn't answer you, but Stack Overflow is smart enough to say, hey, maybe this is what you're looking for. And you have related, you have a ton. The last thing I want to point out is you also want to look at usually the person that's answering. You see that Fabian, which has a lot of gold stars and a lot of points on Stack Overflow. Well, this person answering, and this person looks pretty credible from all their stats. So that is most likely a good answer by this. And I actually know a few companies that look at Stack Overflow profiles to see how good of a developer a person is, because if you're a developer that answers questions on Stack Overflow and provide a lot of value, well, you must be a good developer. So remember this, Googling and Stack Overflow is very important. If you don't find the answer there, you can create an account and ask yourself the question on Stack Overflow. But better yet, go to the Zero to Mastery Slack channel. And if your question wasn't answered on Stack Overflow, again, go to our community here, and you have a ton of channels that you can ask questions in. For example, if you click on channels, over here you'll see all the channels that we have. If you have Bootstrap questions, if you have GitHub questions, you go into the community and you ask all your questions. The JavaScript channel is always active. Very helpful people on there. And remember, you have a community of developers, even after you're done with this course, where they're willing to help you. So it is good to practice not just asking questions all the time, but discovering answers yourself. Learn to debug your own code, develop that muscle, and you'll be a great developer. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.